All right, welcome back to week 3 of English 10 in second semester. Um, this week, as a reminder, there's no school on Monday because it's President's Day, so we will just have A B. On the first day, whether you have me Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to be starting and finishing chapter 4. This one is pretty quick. It's only like 22 minutes to read. Um, but before that, we're going to watch a video on empathy, and then I'm going to give you some time to start filling in Patricia's advice, which is an assignment that I told you about at the beginning of the semester, but it's been 3 weeks, so you might have forgotten. Just a reminder, this is these are our essential questions for this unit. To what extent is our identity shaped by culture and society, and how does empathy change the way that we view and interact with others? This is the empathy one that we're going to be focusing on today, or in this part of the week. So we're gonna watch this little clip. It's like 2 or 3 minutes long, and it basically just describes the difference between sympathy versus empathy. So you're gonna put that in your own words, and then I want you to give me some practical things, like how could you practically show empathy to somebody else? If you watch the video, which you should, they talk about how empathy or sympathy drives disconnection, but empathy fuels connection. Um, and this is this slide shows you just I was trying to process and think myself, the experiences that I've had, the life that I've lived so far. How have I learned to be empathetic? These are my top 3 things that I could think of. First, just listening, because sometimes when somebody is in need of someone else to be empathetic for them, they just need to be heard. They don't need to be told a bunch of things. They just want to be listened to and heard, and that's really important. The second thing would be to ask questions and to basically not jump to conclusions or assumptions. I think I told you a couple weeks ago the story about the student I had who he was acting a certain way, and I thought that he didn't like me or was trying to be rude on purpose, but it ended up being that he was just kind of going through something really tough, and I didn't know that until I stopped and asked him a question. And then honestly, sometimes just being there, just being loyal, just being a presence and saying, "Hey, I'm here for you." That can do a lot. So I want you to tell me, now that we know what empathy is, why it or how you can be empathetic, but why does it matter? Why is it actually important? It might seem like a stupid question, but I want you to tell me down here. So we are going to read chapter 4. It's called Chameleon. And as we do, you're going to be taking some notes in whatever way suits you best. So the first question we need to answer on page 55, he says, "Living with my mom, I saw how she used language to cross boundaries, handle situations, and navigate the world. How can language both be a uniting and a dividing factor? Like, can you think of any examples in your own life?" We'll take a break and then come back and finish reading. He says on page 56, "I became a chameleon. My color didn't change, but I could change your perception of my color." So I want you to make a personal connection. Do you feel like you can fit in anywhere with any group like Trevor did, or do you feel like it's more difficult to blend in with people and that you don't really have a spot where you belong? And then, like I said, I will give you time at the end of class on this first day to finish filling or start filling this out, rather. We haven't even really started it. So I'll go over that with you in class again. On day 2, we are going to be reading chapter 5. We're going to have a grammar lesson, and then if there's any time remaining, I'll give you some more time to fill out Patricia's advice, because chapter 5 is going to be a really good one to do that. So chapter 5 is a very sweet chapter. It's called The Second Girl, and the whole book, he talks about his mom. You've already seen that in the first 4 chapters, but this chapter is really dedicated to her, and it's very precious and very special to read. So he says, we tell people to follow their dreams, but you can only dream of what you can imagine. And depending on where you come from, your imagination can be quite limited. I want you to tell me, do you agree with this or not? Why or why not? And just explain. A lot of times when we're reading something or when we're looking at something in class, we kind of just assume that whatever is being put in front of us, that's what it is and that's correct. But when we're in English class and we're evaluating something or reading something, you don't have to agree with everything that's said and put in front of you. So I want you to give me an example here. Do you agree or disagree with this, and tell me why or why not, and kind of explain that. We're going to take a break from reading, and we're going to do a lesson on a grammar lesson on semicolons. So you're going to watch this video, and then I'm just going to review with you what we talked about in the video. So a semicolon is interesting because it's definitely Like, there are rules on how to use it correctly, but it's also up to the writer and the author on how they want to use it. So it's stronger than a comma, but less final than a period. So it lets the reader know that there is some sort of pause in between when you're using this, but it doesn't mean that it's definite and the two things are not connected. So the two rules that you should remember: semicolons should only connect sentences that are related in some way. If your first sentence you're talking about my experience in Miss Albritton's English class, and then the second sentence you're talking about Halo, playing Halo with your best friends, that has, those two things have nothing in common, so they need to be connected in some way, because that's kind of what the job of a semicolon is. It's to show that there's a pause, but two things are connected. So what is the purpose? Force, clarity, and style. Like I said, you're showing that two ideas are related and connected in some way, but you want to have a bigger emphasis in a pause and a space besides just using a comma. So what you're going to do is put a highlighted semicolon in between the sentences in these examples that you think it actually needs. And then you are going to write 2 sentences about your favorite TV show or movie, and you're going to use a semicolon to connect those 2 sentences. When we come back from the break, we will have our chance to finish chapter 5. What is one quality that Patricia that you think Trevor admired the most, and why? I want you to use evidence from the text to support your answer. And then we will have some more time to finish filling this out. And that is it for week 3. So if you need anything, please let me know.